Go ahead, Richard.
No, I'm going to be on time. Mr. Hale, have a seat, sir. How are you? Okay. Everybody? Mayor's here. Okay. I want to welcome everybody. Anybody on the back row is charged an admission fee of $2. So if you want to be charged $2, get a seat.
Sorry, I didn't bring any money.
How much can I owe you? Not from everybody. Now, we're going to play on a very timely basis this evening, and the clock is our enemy. And we have a lot to go over with, but I want to welcome everybody. Okay, first of all, this is the Collin County Republican Party. And how old are we? Who knows? Where's Jerry Yancey?
Oh, more than 50 years old.
Jerry, how old are we? 52 years. 50 years. 2 years. When were you president?
1970.
That's close enough. Okay. Well, that being said, let's get it started. So let's have our people. Where's our screen? What's our slogan for this year, Delora?
Where's the traditional Republican Men's Club?
Hey, traditional Republican Men's Club, where men and women join together, learn together, and work together for the Collin County Republican Party. Dixie, you heard that?
That's right.
Okay, all right. With that being said, let's all stand and let's get ready for our national anthem. Will Mike Vance? National anthem, Mike. Yeah, will you lead us, please?
Lead the national anthem. That's impressive.
Mike, will you come up and lead us in the pledges, please?
I'm not going to sing the anthem, though.
I can't sing.
Yeah, he'd be pretty good.
I'm a senior citizen.
He needs to whip out the guitar.
One mistake a day. My wife says that.
He's already ahead
He's already blew it.
I'm joining the pledge of the nation flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas, you want to go ahead and lead us, Mike, in the Texas? Okay. All right.
Honor the
Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let's remain standing. Mayor Eric Hogue of Wiley. Did you tell us where Wiley's located, sir?
39 square miles of heaven on earth. And it's in Collin County and Dallas County and Rockwall County, but mostly in Collin County.
Which door of Collin County?
Which Wiley is that?
It's the Wiley that's incorporated. Now, you ought to know better than that. You represented us.
That's why I did.
So I'll pray together. Dear Lord, we thank you for this time that we can come together, and Lord, we thank you for this great nation that we live in, the rights that we have the freedoms to be able to worship you, that we have the freedom of choice. Lord, we're just so thankful that we're not like those first century Christians who were under the Roman Empire, who had no rights to buy or sell land or to be able to even buy food for their families, and who are always under the fear of persecution. Lord, we just thank you for our rights, and help us to never take those for granted, and help us to realize that we do live in the land of the home of the free and the brave. And help us always to remember that if we want to be a great nation, that we must be one nation under God, that we have integrity, that we follow our principles, and that we will always follow you. Lord, be with us tonight as we discuss the business of our country, of our state, and of our county. Go with us and guide us always. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please have a seat. Okay, technical director, we've changed our screen.
What do you want to see?
I want to see our representative, our special guest. There she is. All right. Now, you know, most of y'all know I've been in around Collin County for a long time, a native Texan, so I'm in a minority. But when I get calls from Austin that say a new star has been born, a new star is arising in Collin County, and you can be proud of it. And I am very proud to know her on a personal basis. We served on the grand jury for 7 months together, and we hung 4 people, right?
Someone didn't kill us.
As long as they were Democrats.
District 89, which includes Wiley and East Plano.
East Dallas.
East Dallas, all right. And everybody's familiar with this website. We've talked about it several times. But you want to know her accomplishments and what she's involved in, you go to the Texas House of Representatives and review all of her activities. But we don't need to do that this evening because we have her president. Young lady, would you please tell us what's making you famous in the big city
I
of
don't know if
Austin?
I'm gonna do that, but hey, thank y'all so much for having me with her.
Our pleasure.
You're awesome. And
Yeah,
we did
let's
serve
give her
on
a
the
hand.
grand jury today. I'm so glad to be back among sane people. Not that Austin's insane, but there are people that are insane that live there. And it's really interesting how different mindsets are when you get out of Collin County. And just how amazing folks that I serve, and I'm so grateful for that. And, you know, I kind of, you asked me to speak a little bit on what it was like as a freshman, and I was blessed to be a freshman, and I was blessed, I would have loved for there to be some other freshman Republican women, but I was the only freshman Republican woman, and so there were lots of freshman Democrat women that served alongside of me. Oh boy, they were different. Leave it there. You can watch the videos online if you like to of the Texas House Floor, and you'll see that they were a bit different, even for the Democrat. Even the Democrat leadership had some trouble with them. They stepped on some toes there. I was blessed to have some mentorship from our other Collin County representatives, from Jeff Leach and Matt Shaheen and Scott Sanford. And Jerry Madden gave me some very wise advice along the way. I told somebody he was both encouraging and gave good advice. And those are really good combinations for me to have along the way, because believe it or not everybody's happy with everything you do. It's interesting. You know, if you aren't from Texas, you may not understand that Texas really, our forefathers, you know, during Reconstruction, really wanted government out of the business. And so they said, you know, we only want our legislature to meet every other year. And they had a sense of humor, so they made it odd years. And so we meet in odd years. And we can only meet for 140 days. In the first 60 days, we can't even vote on a bill unless it's an emergency. And so those first 60 days, you get organized, you get in committees, and you do some preliminary stuff, and you hear from the governor. But really quickly after that, everything just goes nuts. You know, you're hearing all sorts of things. And early on, I met with our new speaker, and he said, what committees do you want to serve on? And I said, well, I tell you what, Speaker, I don't have a business at home I'm trying to run. A lot of them men, you know, run their businesses even while they're down there. And by the way, y'all know it pays $600 a month, right? So when you yell at us and tell us you're paying our salary, just remember it's only the minimum wage. I said, I'm not, my kids are grown, so put me in, Coach. You know, I'm ready to serve. And he took me at my word, and I was so pleasantly shocked and surprised when my committee assignments included Ways and Means and Human Services and General Investigating. Three of the, well, they're all important, but through Human Services is now a very, very significant part of our Texas budget is going to those services, Medicaid and CPS and those kind of very important issues that Republicans a lot of times just want to say no to, but not really want to tackle in a meaningful way. So it was really my honor to serve there. Ways and Means, we did some heavy lifting this time. We did some property tax changes, reform, and transparency. Is really proud to be part of that. And General Investigating, you may not have ever heard of that committee because it's only made up of 5 House members. And our job is to investigate wrongdoing within state government and within our body. So what we do as that committee is an executive session. So let me tell you that we do some heavy lifting in there, but it's not public unless there's a need for a public hearing. So anyway, that's another one. I also was very honored to serve on the Republican Policy Committee, and we met every morning very early on days that we had a vote. And we looked through all the bills that were going to be voted on that day and kind of decided as Republicans if we were going to come against, vote against that bill, if we were going to support that bill, if we were neutral. There's a lot of bills that are local bills and, people have strong opinions one way or the other or have no opinions at all. And so we stay neutral on those. So I had a lot of homework to do. Did that reading at night for the next day's bills. And I found out that not everybody reads all the bills. I'm just one of them.
Jerry could attest to that.
Yeah. It was a lot of reading, and I haven't read that much since college. Probably didn't read that much in college, so that was fun. Also got to serve on the board of the Texas,
And by the way, she understood everything that was in every bill.
no, I didn't. Nobody did. Nobody did. I had my desk mate. In fact, one of my bills I carried was a great bill that if you have an after-school program in a school, and in the summertime, they have to move buildings. They actually lost their license for a temporary move. And then they had to get relicensed the next year when they moved back to the regular school building. You know, there's lots of reasons in the summertime, after-school program can't be in a building because renovations or whatever. And I got up to do, I laid out that bill and went back to my seat, and my seatmate Steve Toth voted against the bill. And I said, were you trying to be funny? Because of course it passed. And he said, no, my staff told me to vote against it. And I said, vote against cutting red tape? And he said, is that what that did? So apparently, neither he nor his staff understood what my bill did, but it did get signed by the governor. I'm proud of that. We actually had 7,324 bills filed.
Wow.
Those were the bills that were not like, there's a lot of bills that are like honoring people. I'm not counting those. Of those, 1,429 passed and were signed by the governor, and then the governor vetoed 58 bills. All in all, the Texas House considered 11,911 bills. So that was a lot of reading. That was a lot. And then we had lots and lots of amendments. I don't know. How many amendments did we have on the budget? It was like 100 and,
Oh, the budget was 300.
300 and something amendments. Yeah. A lot of those were crazy. But they were there nevertheless. Anyway, I didn't want to take too much of your time. I actually have to go be on a conference call with TFRW this evening. But I just so appreciate you guys and appreciate those of you who have already spoken to me, get my emails and get my updates of my take on what's going on down there and what's going on, you know, in the hearts and minds of Republicans around the state, because we're all as different as the Texas terrain is, changes from one part to the other, and it is true that it takes a lot of teamwork to get anything done and through the House and the Senate and to the governor. So really proud. I did get to carry one piece of major Republican legislation. I got to carry Senate Bill 22. In the House, it was 1929, and the Senate got it through faster, so I picked up their bill, which was identical to mine, and carried it, and that was the bill that makes sure that no Texas taxpayer dollars go to abortion providers or their affiliates. And I had the distinction of having the longest debate on the floor of the House over my bill, 7.5 hours. And so you have a lot of boring insomnia. Go watch that online. It's very exciting and very boring for hours at a time as we argued over whether or not that's a core function of government, which I contend is not. There's a lot of things we need to be doing as government, and funding abortion providers is not.
Well, County, we're here to help you. Okay,
Thank
and
you,
here,
Richard.
very much appreciate you coming. Now, who's your administrative assistant? Is
Well,
she-
this is my
did she
chief of
carry
staff.
her own bag?
For those that don't know, Suzanne Bowers, she's awesome, and she's my chief of staff. She's experienced. She was Jody Lovenberg's chief of staff for 16 years, and now she took me on as a project. And I will tell you that that was one of the advantages I had as a freshman, and a lot of freshmen didn't have, is someone that didn't know all the answers but knew exactly who to call for the answers, and that is so valuable. And I loved having Suzanne on my team.
Well, you know, if you look out here, there's a lot of Collin County's leadership sitting here.
It sure
Okay?
is. Sure
And I
is.
want you to feel free to call upon us at any time. And you know Dixie, and you know Phyllis,
I do.
and you know Kay Bear.
Oh, I do.
Okay? Now, these people you may not know, but Linnell
Yeah,
and Carl.
I met them tonight.
Yeah,
They're my new friends.
she's a senior advisor to President Trump and on the campaign side. So you deal with, what's her name? Kellyanne Conway on a daily basis and everything. But heavyweight, okay? And you know Jerry Madden over here, of course. And you know Bill Ames, or Arthur,
Yeah, no,
okay?
a long time.
And who am I missing? You know this
Well,
gentleman is showing it?
you're gonna get in trouble by point.
I know.
You're gonna miss somebody.
We want to be behind you, helping you, and you're free to call upon us at any time.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you
I
for
appreciate
coming.
that.
Have
Thank
a
you,
great
guys.
day. All right, stand. Now, let's take a moment and take a deep breath. All the guests and candidates and elected officials, after our speaker, you can come up and you have 30 minutes, there are 30 seconds to tell us what you're famous for, all right? But we're going to move on. We have another special guest this evening. And as you know, in Collin County, we just got the election of a new county chairman. The county chairman performs an important role, all right? And I'm using an analogy, Dixie, all right? You see his hand, there's 5 fingers. And if we could right now examine the different divisions or groups in Collin County, there's like 5 of them. Of course, we'll take the credit, we're the oldest. The Women Collin County Club is second right behind us, right? Okay? But, you know, if one finger is missing, the hand is incomplete. I had breakfast with this young man, Mark Reed, and he said we're one hand. We're going to be, all 5 of us got to work together to build this party and save it. Why don't you come up and tell us your goals for the coming year and what you're famous for? Now, we're going to do one more thing. Well, the technical people now turn this off.
Yeah.
Because we want a full light on this young man. Okay? Can you hit somebody hit row 4? Who's back there?
Let me see if I can count that high.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, sustained sport. I guess I'm famous for my son, who's a Navy pilot. I'm very proud of him, so that's about all I'm famous for. But thank you for letting me come say hello, and I agree completely with what Richard said. I only have one priority, and that's get Republicans elected. I don't care if they're Reagan Republicans or Bush Republicans or Trump Republicans. I want to get Republicans elected, and we've got a challenge. The Democrats to get us. There's a target on our back, particularly here in Collin County. So we've got to all work together. We agree on a lot more stuff. I don't agree with my wife on everything, but we Republicans agree on a lot more than we would ever agree with a Democrat on. So we've got to work together. On the night that they had the vote to elect me, I told them I had 1 plus 5 plus 1,000 details. The 1 was to get the Victory 2020 effort going. That's critical. We've got 18 months till November. Let's get to work on that. The 5 was I'm a businessman. I've run a business for over 30 years, and so the first priority to me was to get a good management team in place. The second priority was we need hundreds of volunteers, literally hundreds of volunteers out knocking on doors in 2020. The third priority was to raise capital. We need more money. This party organization operates on about $120,000 a year. We ought to triple that. So we need to raise more money so we can support more Republican candidates. We want to collaborate with the clubs, all 10 fingers. We've got, 14, 15, 16 clubs in Collin County? We want to work with all the clubs. That's one way we'll get a lot of volunteers. And then finally, we want to register voters. The Democrats have enforced registering voters. There was a big training session here in Collin County recently, and don't quote me on the numbers; they're irrelevant. There was something like 83 people there, and Republicans were outnumbered 10-1 by Democrats getting that deputy voter registration.
Yeah, we had 7.
We had 7; they had 75 or something like that. We've got to turn that around. You know, it's when I agreed to do this, I had really no idea. I'm new to politics compared to you guys. I've only been doing it about 10 years, and I'm standing on your shoulders. So I've got a lot to learn, and I hope, I've had lunch with Richard. I hope to meet with other folks in here and learn about the history of what's gone on here in Collin County. So there's a lot of work to do. Where I was going with that was, it's been a whirlwind of activity here in the first 30 days. I've learned so much, and all of it's good. The RPT, looking at these goals we've got, the Republican Party of Texas has already raised the money to hire a victory director for Collin County and 8 paid staff people for Collin County. So we've got a built-in staff for our Victory 2020 effort. So the money that we raise on top of that, we can use for the other things that we want to do, instead of just having to raise money to pay the staff that we need to run the effort. That's wonderful news. I met a weekend or two ago, there was an SREC meeting in Austin, and Carl Rove was there, and he announced the volunteer engagement project that's going on here in Texas. This project is working to find 100,000 volunteers across the state of Texas to go out and register voters. They're going to use micro-targeting tools, you know, like Facebook and those guys do to bother us all the time. They're going to use micro-targeting tools to identify 1.4 million strong Republican voters here in Texas. They're going to focus on the top 41 counties, and we're one of them. And they are also going to be targeting new people that move into Texas. They have lists of people that were Republicans in other states that are moving into Texas, and we're going to go talk to those folks. So we've got that helps with the voter registration effort. So the top and the bottom of my list, a lot's been accomplished. We got a lot to do in the middle, 1,000 details to deal with. But I want to make this the strongest Republican Party we've ever had, and that's saying a lot in this room. But I've got to learn from what you guys have done over the last, how many decades?
52 years.
52 years. I've got to learn from that and build on that, and I've got to get other people to understand that the new people like me are standing on your shoulders, and we just need to take what we can learn from you and move it forward. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm happy to talk to any of you anytime.
Well, I want to what's your phone number?
My personal cell is 214-707-8899.
Are you on the website yet?
My email address is chairman@collegegop.org.
All right, so if people contact you, you got to return a phone call.
Absolutely.
All right, and we don't have to go through.
Give me a day or two, but
and we don't have to go through the executive director. We can come direct.
direct to me. Yeah.
Well, I saw wish him well, and thank you for your courtesy and extending the visit.
Thanks for inviting me.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. All right, let's have a brief type intermission. Anybody want a water, Coke, or whatever? We'll take a minute as we go here and get ready for our speaker. And when we do that, I'm going to break things up just a bit and talk about Jerry Yancey. When were you president of this club?
1978.
If everybody wants to know who you are, you better stand up. 1978. When were you county chair?
From 1992 to 1998.
Okay. You saw a lot of growth in our party, haven't you?
I did. That was a period of very strong growth, of which I am very proud.
All right. Thank you for your service. Now, did Dixie over here recruit you, or did you recruit Dixie?
I don't know about that.
That being said, Dixie, this is our intermission. Let's take a deep breath for a couple of minutes here. Dixie, stand up pretty please, young lady. So this is our leader of our party, and Dixie, y'all got the first Republican judge elected in Collin County.
Well, way back when, we opened the office December the 2nd, 1968, with $350. And you don't ever want to go back in. But anyway, we didn't have very many people. And the first office that we won was a constable seat. And then it came along, and the next thing, we won a sheriff, which was George Spinn. And I don't know where he is today. But then we went on and we ran a commissioner that we didn't win it. And Jack Carter ran for that. And then as we came on along, we target raced. We didn't pick a whole bunch of people. You can do that now, but then we couldn't. And we had to find a seat that we thought that we could win. Well, we decided that if we ran somebody, we wanted somebody that was educated and that was known in the county as I attended Commissioner's Court before that, and the commissioners sat around the table with their feet propped up on it, and they were road graders. They maintained your roads. Well, I've always said, any good thing that has happened to Collin County is because of the Republicans that we put in office. Because then as we came on down the line, we won a county judge and we won 2 commissioners. But until we got that, we didn't have a sub-courthouse in Plano. We didn't have, I don't know what they call it today, a maintenance department in McKinney that had an engineer working for them, and he handled the roads. Everybody had their own barn, and oh, they were really proud of it. And
when did Nathan White come in? You brought Nathan in and he was elected as the
well,
first?
Nathan was in the Navy, and so we knew he was going to come along, and he was interested in the Republican Party. And so we could hardly wait till he got back home. And that's whenever then he was our county chairman. And we had a whole lot of different county chairmen, but he was one of the best ones at that time, because he set up a program. Then another Goodman came along, and it was Jerry.
Well, I was going to use that to transition over to him as we move along here. How did Jerry Madden get involved in that?
Well, I went down, and right after we first opened our office, and I did a post-election survey down in Canyon Creek, because it was our newest precinct. And I found 98 Republicans. And so we knew that his mother had been an elected official from where they came from. So I went to visit them. And she told me that her son was going to move here. And so then when he moved to Texas, well, we recruited him. And that's how we got him.
Thank you, Dixie, for all that you've done. Okay. I just want y'all to know that. But you served in the legislature for how many years, sir?
I was there for 20 years.
20 years. And how many bills did you get through the legislature?
No.
Hundreds.
100, yeah.
Okay. And they used to say about Jerry, Florence Shapiro, and all the other ones, he was the only guy in Austin that read the bills. Okay. Thank you for your service. All right, everybody got a water? We're ready for our speaker. Let me tell you about this evening's outstanding gentleman.
He didn't want me to tell about his golfing, that's why.
I don't want to talk about my handicap today, okay? Dr. John Goodman, and first of all, I want to give some acknowledgement to Professor David Niederkorn. Thank you for your help. He's doing a hell of a job as our assistant program chairman. Okay, young, bright, all that stuff, okay? And he reached out to Dr. Goodman. Dr. Goodman has a reputation in Texas of building the economic base for our party and our success with the National Party, National Center of Policy Analysis. And they formed many areas of public policy. And then about 3 years ago, he started the Goodman Institute, correct? Today, he's known as the father of the health savings account. Everybody recognize that? That's where, innovative way of dealing with the sovereign health insurance program. Number 2, currently he's on the, I'm going to use a committee or group, helping the Bush-Trump administration in formulating a health care policy and system. Sir, would you please come forward and tell us your innovative efforts that you're putting forward? Okay, and let's see if we get this turned on. Flip that and it should be, flip the switch here. Now this.
Great. Wow. With an introduction like that makes you feel like you should run for office. I'm John Goodman, I approve that
wait
message.
just a second. I'm sorry. I'm a senior citizen. This is just the second one tonight. Sir, now, let's see, Jim, if I get this dang thing to work. I'm having a problem. This is the mic. It's not on, is it, Jim?
It is.
Hold on a minute.
You're live on Facebook.
It's on.
Try not to cuss.
There it is. Sir, this is, we're gonna start the filming now and put you on Facebook, is that a? Okay, let me put it on you. Sure. Does that work? Jim, does that work? Okay. Dr. Goodman.
I won't get electrocuted here.
Oh, no.
I'm going to talk to you about healthcare tonight, but let me just tell you that we do a lot of other things. And the tax economists that I work with were the brains behind the Ryan Brady tax bill that eventually became the tax reform that we're all living under right now. These are the best tax economists in the whole world, and right now their task is to defend the tax bill, which is going to be really, really important coming up to the next election. Democrats ran on taxes and Republicans ran away from taxes in the last election. That should not happen again. So you go to our website and see that. Tom Saving down at Texas A&M was a trustee of Social Security and Medicare. He served on President Bush's committee to privatize Social Security. And he and I have done a lot of things, but most importantly is a study, the only study that exists showing how you can privatize Medicare in the same way that Bush wanted to privatize the Social Security system. So I'm just telling you, we do a lot of things other than health care, and if you want to give me a business card, we'll email you stuff, and in any event, you can come to the Goodman Institute website and find out about those things. For many years, I had a healthcare blog, and we were one of the few blogs in the United States where we applied economics to healthcare policy. But one thing I quickly discovered was that we were the only health policy blog of any persuasion or whatever, from right to left, that had a sense of humor. I don't know what's wrong with the field that I've been in, but it's populated by a bunch of sourpusses. We felt like if we didn't make you smile at least once a day, we weren't really doing our job. So we would do things like we had a post on theft of medical records and how bad that would be for you if it happened. And then we went over to YouTube and got Aretha Franklin singing Say a Little Prayer for You. Then we had a post on narrow networks and how you can't see the doctor you need. And we had Leslie Gore singing You Cry Too If It Happened to You. And then we had a post on end of life care and Bob Dylan singing Knocking on Heaven's Door. Now, you know, when you're in healthcare and you think you're being funny or cute, there's always a risk you can be insensitive. And probably the most insensitive thing we ever did, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, but some of you are old enough to remember there was a man who went down to Parkland Hospital emergency room, waited 19 hours, and died before he ever saw a doctor. You remember that. Well, we thought this was very tragic, a sad thing to happen, and we said it was terrible and all of that, but then underneath we had Lionel Richie singing all night long. No, we shouldn't have done that. I wish I could take that back. Then I discovered there are people like Paul Goodman at the New York Times who has no sense of humor at all. And when you're around humorless people, if you're just a little bit subtle, they miss the whole thing. So we created this yellow yield sign like that. And it was a humor alert for the humor challenge. And so you know, whenever you saw that, you don't take things too seriously. And I may try that out on you in just a minute. Now, when I talk in groups like this, I always have my cell phone with me. Because you never know, right in the middle of the talk, you can have an emergency call, right? Right. That wasn't serious. No, the real reason I have this phone is because I want to make a point. There are more cell phones in the United States than there are people. You know, even the panhandler over here on the street corner probably has a cell phone. But but he probably doesn't have very good access to health care. Now, if something happens to my cell phone in Dallas, Texas, I can go to any one of a dozen places to get it repaired, and it will be high quality, low cost repair. There are places that will send someone to my home, repair my iPhone in my condo. There's a national chain, it's called Eye Doctor, the people who work for it, or called Eye Hospital, people who work for it are called Eye Doctor. And, but over in the healthcare field, if something happens to you or me, did you know the average wait for us to see a doctor is now 3 weeks? And in Boston, where we were told they had universal coverage, before there was Obamacare, the average wait is 3.5 months. And nationally, when we go to the emergency room for care, 1 out of every 10 of us leaves without ever seeing a doctor because we get tired of waiting. And so my question to you tonight is, why is the market so kind to my cell phone and so mean to us? And the answer, I believe, is that the cell phone is produced and repaired in a real market with real prices, where entrepreneurs know that they can make millions of dollars if they meet our needs. Whereas over in the healthcare field, we have so suppressed the market year after year, decade after decade, that none of us ever sees a real price for anything. We like to think that our healthcare system is really different from the Canadian system, and I probably contributed to that perception. But after many years, it occurred to me, you know, we're not all that different from Canada. We're about 80% alike, if you want to know the real truth. And the same goes for healthcare systems in Europe. In Canada, when you see a doctor, it's free. In the United States, when you see a doctor, it's almost free. Every time we spend $1 at a doctor's office, 90 cents is paid for by a third party, by an employer, by an insurance company, or by government. Only 10 cents is coming out of our own pocket. So both in the United States and in Canada and in Britain and throughout Europe, the main way that we're paying for health care is not with money, it's with time. And what we forget is that when you suppress the marketing, when you suppress the price system, what you do is you elevate the importance of non-price barriers to care, non-market barriers to care. Now what are those? Well, how long does it take you on the phone to get an appointment with a doctor? How many days or weeks or months you have to wait before you see the doctor? How long does it take you to get from your home, your office, to the doctor's office? How long do you have to wait while you're there? How long does it take you to get back again? Those are all non-price, non-market barriers to care. And there's a lot of evidence that even for low-income families, those non-market barriers to care are more important in deterring access to health care than the price the doctor charges. Now, in this country, there are about 43 million people on food stamps, and people who have food stamps can go to any supermarket you and I can go to. They buy anything we can buy. They pay the same price that we pay. They go to the checkout counter. In the old days, they put their food stamps down, and they needed additional cash. And that now they have a credit card. But you never hear it said that people on food stamps don't have access to supermarkets. About the worst that can happen is they have to get on a bus and go a couple miles. But you never hear of a supermarket saying, we're not going to take any more food stamp customers, right? Now, over in the healthcare system, we have 74 million people or so on Medicaid. And a lot of these are the same people, by the way. And what's the biggest problem people on Medicaid have? Find a doctor who will see them, right? So I was in Massachusetts not that long ago, and I had a cab driver. She's female. She started asking her about how is healthcare in Massachusetts going for you? And she's on Mass Health, which is their Medicaid program. And she said, well, I had to go down a list of 21 doctors before I found one who would see me. And I said, were you going through the yellow pages? And she said, no, I went through the list that Mass Health gave me. That's what they call universal coverage in Massachusetts. Now, when the Medicaid patients can't find doctors who will see them, what do? They go to community health centers. They go to places like Parkland Hospital, where they won't wait 19 hours, but a wait down at Parkland of 4, 5, or 6 hours would not be unusual, depending on the time of day and day of the week. And remember, while they're sitting there, they're sitting around sick people. Now, while all that's going on, we have in this country about 2,000 walk-in clinics, and probably most of you are familiar with the Minute Clinic and the CVS pharmacy, right? And very convenient. You know what price you're going to pay. You don't have to guess what the cost is going to be. In our area, I would say for a sore throat or an earache, a Minute Clinic visit would cost about $75. The problem is Medicaid only pays half that rate. So the Medicaid patients don't get to go to the Minute Clinic, which is convenient and low cost, and way below the cost of going to Parkland, I guarantee you that. If we would just let low-income folks buy health care the way they buy food, we would greatly expand access to medical care for millions and millions of people in this country. So when I think about what we have to do to reform our healthcare system, the first thing I think of is we have to free the patient. And the second thing we have to do is free the doctor. So let me grab my prop here for a minute. If any of you notice it's really hard to get a doctor to talk to you on the phone, am I right? Why do you think that is? Yes, sir.
Since Clinton's managed care initiative, your average doctor is spending 4 to 5 hours a day on paperwork.
Yep, that's not the right answer here. That's true, but not the answer to this. Why doesn't the doctor want to talk to you on the phone?
It's not time efficient patients.
He doesn't earn any money doing it.
There, good answer. The doctor doesn't get paid to talk to you on the phone, right? And why? Because years ago, Medicare decided there were 7,500 tasks it was going to pay for, and they wrote down a list of them. And so you've got all these procedures, and you got a price by each one of them. Somebody forgot to add the telephone to the list. And the way Medicare pays is the way most employers pay, it's the way Blue Cross pays. And so the whole system's not paying for the telephone. It's really hard, by the way, to change the list. Seema Verna is the woman who runs Medicare and Medicaid, and she told me when she came in there, she discovered that Congress has passed a law, by the way, saying that doctors cannot talk by phone, or they cannot charge Medicare for a phone call to a patient unless that patient is out in a rural area, and even then the patient can't be in his own home. The Trump administration, by the way, is being very, very aggressive. And Seema told me that, well, here's what we did. We said, okay, Congress has outlawed telemedicine. What we're going to do is we're going to have virtual medicine. So she's greatly expanding the use of the phone, or the ability to use the phone. And that's the kind of aggressive use of executive authority that you see in the Trump administration, especially in healthcare, but also in some other areas. Have you ever noticed that you can email your lawyer, you can email your accountant, you can email just about any other professional, but your doctor doesn't email you? By the way, the Minute Clinic does email me. I'll come back to that in a minute. But why is the doctor? Why are you not emailing your doctor? You email everybody else.
I do.
Okay, good. Well, good for you. Now, you were so good last time. You know, this is, you just keep repeating that answer, you're going to get an A+ on this exam here.
He didn't get paid to do it.
Doesn't get paid to email you. That's absolutely right. Or Skype or anything else. But you're right. There are some changes. There are some innovations that partly because of Seema Verma, who's running Medicare. Now, Jeffrey Brenner is a doctor who is in Camden, New Jersey, which is one of the poorest cities in the whole country. And in Camden, almost everybody is either on Medicare, or they're on Medicaid, or they're uninsured. There's almost no private insurance. So Brenner is a doctor, he's a scientist, he's inquisitive, and he goes through the hospital records and he discovers that 5% of all the people who live in Camden are responsible for half the money the hospital is spending. So he got the list of the 5% and he went down and he picked out a man who weighed 600 pounds. And he was a drug addict, he was an alcoholic, he was a diabetic. He spent half the year in the hospital and the other half the year abusing himself. So Brenner takes this man under his wing and he gets him off alcohol, gets him off drugs, gets him going to AA, discovers the guy's a Christian, gets him going to church, signs him up for some welfare benefits so there's some financial stability in his life. And lo and behold, the man is not going into the hospital anymore. So month after month, we're saving tens of thousands of dollars because of the way Brenner is helping this guy get his act together. Now, my question to you is, for all of the money that Brenner is saving, let's say Medicaid in New Jersey, how much do you think Medicaid gave Brenner? Zero. Now, for all of the money he's saving Medicare, which means taxpayers, you and me nationally, how much do you think Medicare gave him? Nada. That's right. And why is that? Because again, of the 7,500 things that Medicare pays doctors to do, somebody left these things off the list. Because what I really have just described to you is really more social work than it is medicine. But it doesn't matter what you call it, it's not on the list of the things the government pays for. Now, I learned about Brenner back when Bush was president. So I went up and talked to the folks at Health and Human Services, and I said, you know, you should write Brenner a check for $1 million. And, I forgot to mention, after Brenner had the successful, the one guy, he formed a clinic, and now he has lots of patients that he is taking care of, and he's literally saving millions of dollars for taxpayers. So I said to the folks in the Bush administration, you write him a check for $1 million. Why should we do that? He's already saving all this money. You know? This is the way Washington bureaucrats think. So I had to patiently explain, well, because, you know, if all the doctors in America thought that if they changed what they're doing and they got better results, they'd make more money, they would change the practice of medicine. Well, that was too radical for the Bush folks. They had no idea what was about to come, which was going to be Obamacare. If we're going to reform the system, we've got to free the patient, we've got to free the doctor, and then finally we've got to free the entrepreneur. So I'm often asked if the free market can actually work in healthcare. And my answer is the free market is the only thing that works in healthcare.
Sir, thank you very much. Jim? Accept this. Do you like the Capitol Grill?
I do.
Hope you enjoy that, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Wonderful program. Again, our emphasis on education. I hope you found this very informative. And if you have any magic, all right, I'm sure Dr. Goodman would enjoy a phone call for you to share it with us. I'll let them. Okay. The next thing is the most important. And gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Sorry. Okay, we do not have a meeting in July, correct? Mark, is that right? Why do we not have a meeting in July? You know, Scott? It's because this is our 19th year to participate in the 4th of July Parade Club. Okay? Notice in your chair, there's a little envelope, just as you like to go to the Methodist Church. Okay? We need some contributions. Flags this year, and again, I'm going to repeat this. This is the 19th year that we've had a float in the parade, and 19 years that we have distributed flags along the parade route. Our theme this year is people helping people, the spirit of America. And with a little success here, we have 2 policemen, 2 firemen, a physician and a patient, a teacher and a student, and volunteers. People helping people is a theme. But again, and we need 2 things. Number 1, we need walkers. We need walkers to help hand out the flags. This is on July the 4th. Number 2, we need some money for our flags this year. So any contribution, $1 or whatever, this is your envelope. Please consider mailing in a contribution to cover the flags, the cost of the flags. And we appreciate it very much. Now, the second thing in the chair is membership. And with our county chairman here, our clout, our influence in this county is based on our membership. So if you're not a member, sign up now. Number 2, get your neighbor, get your friends, but our growth. This is a wonderful meeting. We want to keep our attendance around 100 people a meeting if we possibly can. And we can do that with your help. So next thing, bring somebody with you. Okay? Next time, young man, bring your neighbor. All right? But join our club and get involved. Now, we got some breaking news. Yeah? This is really unbelievable, and I want everybody, I got to be sure I repeat this correctly. July, no meeting and the parade, but August. Are you ready for this, Carl? We have a gentleman flying in from Israel. You know, on 2 occasions the last 5 years, we had Colonel Elaine from the Israel military that spoke to our group and told us about what's going on behind the scene. It was quite informative. I reached out to Colonel Elaine, and we have Joshua Reinstein coming in. He's the president of the Israel Alliance Foundation. He's the director of the President Christian Alliance Caucus. This is a heavyweight. Heavyweight. Dr. Terry Israel opened the door for me, okay? Dr. Israel's gonna fly in and be at that meeting. But he introduced me to this gentleman's mother, and he's coming home to visit with Mom, and I think it's his birthday, all right? And we're moving our date. This is very, very important. We're not meeting the third Thursday of our regular meeting. We're meeting the second Thursday. Now, what is that date, honey? Do you remember?
August the
8th. August the 8th, you can check. So, two things. Mark it on your calendar. Our August meeting is going to be this unique speaker, okay? And it should be quiet. He's going to address. I talked to him on the phone. I found out what it costs to call Israel. Okay, I thought I'd get you. I'd get you to help me on the turn. Okay? Anyway, on the 9/0, I've talked to him twice. He's very excited with him coming in to visit with his mother and his family to come and speak with us and inform us. Number one, the Trump policy on moving the embassy, okay, and the Trump policy in dealing with Israel. And it should be quite enlightening and deal. So mark that on your calendar and do it. Now, is there any, at this time, we have some candidates and we have some elected officials. So if y'all all come up on this side and come through and identify and tell us, Daryl, come on up. Okay, where's Mr. Vance? Okay. Who else do we have? Scott, okay. Ken, come over on this side. Okay. Everybody get in line over here.
Age before beauty. Age before beauty.
I don't want to slap it. That's what I do. Just try and slap it. Mr. Ball, how many years have you served this county?
This is the 35th year.
All right. Do you tell us?
And I've enjoyed it. I started out with a lot of problems, and we've gotten them modified tremendously. The mayor of Wiley is here. I haven't been collecting for him for 35 years, but we've been collecting for a significant number. And we've saved them $10 per account every year, because it takes $10 to collect taxes for an entity. We get to do it, and we've now picked up everybody in the county. We're saving tremendous amounts of money. We're giving better service. We hire people who care about people. And we try to give you the service that you deserve when you come in. You are our customers, and we work for you. I've run for that, and I continue to run for that.
A couple of questions. What is the size of your budget now? When you're collecting taxes, what's the numbers?
I don't know the number of the budget. I know we've got 110 people, and the bulk of them are in motor vehicle. Property tax, we get we get 14 temporaries during the season. We're minuscule compared to what it was.
But when Dixie and y'all started building the party, what was the population and what is it today?
Oh my God!
You see what I'm saying?
The population was somewhere around 100,000, and now we're at 1 million.
Okay.
And Dixie prodded me. She almost had a cattle prod. She prodded me all the way on what to do and how to do. And most of you here have known me and had service, and you're even asked a question.
I just want to compliment you on your fast turnaround of auto registration. I put my application in the mail one day, the day after the next day, I got it back in the mail. So you turned it around in one day.
I would love to say that we always do that, but we don't. But we do turn it around pretty quick. And doing that for you is what I first ran for, because my wife went to the courthouse to get registration, and she told me what it was like, and I couldn't believe it. I went, and I found out she was true. And then I ran, and I've got no question but that the job is to serve the citizens of Collin County.
When are you starting your campaign, sir?
I don't know that I start a campaign. We can't sign up until December. So I'm not going to be doing advertising and all that until December. And
Otherwise, I'm just going to provide service and show you what I can do rather than talk about it.
So we can start looking for your website and volunteer for your, to help you in your city.
I don't know that a website raises significant taxes. I'll be out talking to people
Okay.
that vote.
Well, we thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Darryl Hale. I'm your newest county commissioner for Precinct 3. Asked what we were famous for. I ran a very unconventional campaign.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes. I think some of the things that are going on great in the county right now, we just added 2 new courts. We're growing like crazy. We are adding the equivalent of a farmer's bill every month. So we're adding 97 people a day right now. So we were 1,005,000 last summer. We're up now probably another 35,000 since then. So we're probably like 1,040,000 now. So the things that I'm going to be working on is just all effects of growth and what that does to us. So continuing to look at courts, expanding support for the sheriff's office, jail, just everything that's going to be impacted by the continued growth. I'm having my campaign kickoff this next Thursday. I'll pass some of these around. I'd appreciate it if you came and supported me. I'd love to see you all there. Thank you.
And where is it going to be?
It's going to be at Destinations Wine Bar. I'm actually having a wine tasting. Texans can be sophisticated. And it's in Fairview, just right across from Elliott's Hardware. And it'll be next Thursday.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Darryl.
Young man, Scott.
Those of you that haven't met me yet, I think I've met most of you. My name is Scott Grigg. I'm running for Collin County Tax Assessor. As this county has continued to grow, that office has gotten bigger and bigger. It collects over $3.5 billion a year.
Billion?
Billion.
With a V.
With a B. Issues over $1.5 million different separate receipts, a lot of that in motor vehicle. I have over 30 years of experience dealing in finance, audit, and accounting in billion-dollar companies. And I want to put that experience to use, serving the citizens of this county. I currently serve the citizens of this county as an auditor for the county, work in the auditor's office, where I've been serving in 2 different time periods since 2013. That's one of the hats I'm wearing as I'm up here. And
When did your campaign kick off?
July 10th will be my kickoff. Not quite as sophisticated as Daryl's. We're holding mine in a tavern. It'll be Woodtop Tavern here in Plano, just down the road here on Preston, right before you get to Tollway. We'd love to have you join me there. I've got information on my Facebook page and my website.
All right.
So,
Website is up. What's your website?
LetScottGrigg.com. And my Facebook page is Scott Grigg for TAC. You can check that out. Real quick, I've got another hat that I wear for the party. I'm the for the Standing Supporter Program. I oversee that. Would love to see those people get involved in that. Believe it or not, less than half of the elected officials in the county and are involved in that.
Well, they're all
elected positions, so I'd like to look into that too.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Thanks, bud.
Hello, folks. I'm Mike Vance. V. Victor, A&C. My name's Constable Precinct 1, Collin County. Folks, I'm a 34.5-year Texas lawman. My entire career has been spent right with the Collin County Sheriff's Office. I've based my entire life career on honesty and integrity. I think a law enforcement agency should be run with honesty and integrity. When I'm elected, I'll bring honesty and integrity to the constable's office, and I'll operate that office according to the rules, regulations, and laws of the state of Texas. So, ask if you're voting and support it. I'm Constable Precinct 1, Collin County.
Now, Mike, one thing, what is your territory when you say precinct?
Precinct 1 is Fairview, McKinney, Melissa, Anna, Westminster, some of New Hope, and some of Weston.
All right, and when are you kicking off your campaign?
My campaign kicked off March 2nd, 2016, when I lost the last election.
October 1st is your official.
That's correct.
Deal, and you'll be running for campaigning at that time.
Are you gonna be singing at that event?
With your guitar? You can bring your guitar?
How much money y'all got, huh? I can be bought.
Mr. Bass, thank you much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Okay, are we ready for the Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, we are.
Everybody get their ticket? All right, while we're getting ready for all that, I really want to acknowledge a couple of people. And the first is Steve Howell. Is Steve still here? And went out the back door. Steve, stand up and let everybody see you. Steve is taking on the burden of helping provide the food, get us organized, doing the yeoman's work. Appreciate it, man. Okay, very much.
Time out. Tim pays for it, so I just, he tells me what to do. It's really Tim.
You have a strong back.
Yeah, thanks.
I said this earlier, and I said it. Now, Mayor, you didn't want to say any words or anything, or?
I prayed for y'all, so I mean,
That was fun.
I'm mayor of the great city of Wiley, Texas, with 52,127 people.
But now, when are you up again? How many times?
May 2020.
20, okay.
So you can see clearly.
All right. So we can wait a while to go to work for a campaign.
That's right.
All right.
Sounds like magic to me.
Absolutely.
I want to recognize another young man of tremendous talent, and most of them getting to know him, and that's Professor David Niederkorn. David, appreciate all the work you're doing and really helping us get some good speakers. And Bill and I are, I really would be in trouble if I didn't recognize a couple other people. And one is Kay Baird. Huh?
You better get your wife.
I've got her on the list.
Better have her.
Kay Baird is the queen of the Republican Party in College County. She has helped, you want to stand up? Stand up a minute, sorry about it. Because she has helped more people run for office and get guidance in the party. Well, appreciate what you've done. Okay? Now, Lovely Bride has got a new knee, and she's now walking and on a bicycle 22 minutes a day. All right? And we're so proud of her. But I guarantee you, we wouldn't get any damn thing done if she wasn't the administrative talent that she is.
Amen.
Appreciate it.
Reading your emails.
Yeah, she does everything for us. Now, who have I missed? I know I've missed someone. Yeah, listen, here's our school teacher and our commissioner for how many years? Come on, Phyllis. Yeah. How many years, Phyllis? 20 years on the court, and you kept them in line.
Well, it was a full-time job.
Okay. And appreciate your service. Yes, ma'am.
Richard, this lady is our silver-haired legislator, and she's on the national board.
Stand up and introduce yourself, please.
I'm proud of her.
Okay.
I advocate for people 60 years and older to the Congress.
Okay. And you asked Congress to court? But you're here in Collin County?
Age
Okay.
60 and above.
All right. Thank you for what you do. We got everybody covered? All right, let's have our Wheel of Fortune. Linnell, since you are senior advisor to the Trump administration, you want to come and spin our wheel?
Now I'll let Carl do it since it's easier for him to get up there than me.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Carl, come on up here, young man. And let's,
I don't have the new knee yet.
Okay.
She can pick the ticket.
We need some. Does everybody have a ticket?
I got the one. You have a beautiful woman to pick it, because I'm an ugly man.
Well, she's not older, is what she just said.
okay.
She's- All right.
Carl's a beautiful man.
Now, what did you say? What, we spin the wheel first?
Yep.
And
Okay.
determine the prize, all right? Now, hold this.
To the right. Big money, big money.
All right, who's got the sheet?
Richard, I do.
You got the sheet?
I guess so.
Still one.
One is the Perot Museum, Nana and Pops.
Now stand up, I can hear your sound sitting down like that. Stand up and shout it out.
Okay, it's the Perot Museum, Nana and Pops and grandchildren trip. 4 tickets.
Okay, that is a wonderful event if you haven't been to the Perot Museum. Phyllis, you would really enjoy that with the grandkids. All right, pick a number. Okay. Oh, I'll let you read it off for that. 4346, the last four numbers. All right, you have it, young lady? All right. Where's Tim's card?
Right here.
Tim? Okay, come on up, you gotta get with her, get all the information, okay? And, for the prize. Now, while he's heading back, I wanna tell you one other thing, and she gets some recognition. You know, this is a team effort, but, this big tall-headed man has been our treasurer for I don't know how many years, a couple of decades. But he accepts my calls, whether it's 7 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night. I know his wife gets tired of me calling. But Tim McCard is one of the valuable parts of this organization. And Tim, we appreciate all that you do. Okay? And you keep the books. All right? And we're still liquid, right? We're not broke.
We haven't had it on the blackboard.
Well, we don't get one.
We don't get one.
Now, if you want to go to the board, that's what we'll tell you what it's at. All right. Again, now, Randall, we haven't identified, I want to do something for Randall, and I hope if everything's, stand up. You're an outstanding attorney, and Randall, Mr. Johnson, you have made application for
The new district court, civil jurisdiction district court, Collin County.
all right? And not only does he look like a judge, he has it appeared to be a judge, and tremendous certifications. And so, if anyone can help, and his aid is to get appointed as our one of our new judges, we'd appreciate everybody's help. But a very qualified young man.
Thank you.
Okay.
What's the court number on that?
But
It's 4 something or other. I don't know what the number. I think it's like 437 or 493, 468.
all right.
468.
Now, anything on good order?
Are you, and I just want to put this out there because it was brought up earlier about the Democrats. Are you aware that there's already a woman Democrat who has told Ben Smith she's running against him?
Running against whom?
Ben Smith.
Miss Beth? Oh, okay.
I just, get ready, they're coming.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a little sidebar, but who's a native Texan here? Okay. How many of us were Democrats? We were all Democrats. There wasn't such thing as a two-party system, all right? And we became Republicans when most of us, when John Connally switched over and switched parties because he was going to, but John Towers was a senator.
My first vote was cast in 1978, and the arc changed when Bill Clinton hit every single county, not Bill Clinton, Bill Clements hit every single county in Texas, and the Democratic governor candidate, whose name escapes me, thought, who is this guy? He looks like a used car salesman.
Okay.
But Clements hit every single county. And he
Yes, sir.
covered
I've never been a Democrat. I voted in '72 for Richard Milhouse Nixon.
All right.
And I have not looked, I've never voted for a Democrat.
Okay.
Never.
All right.
I beat him.
Well, I'm sure. I can't wait.
Way back, you had to be 21 years old before you could vote.
Yep, they lowered it.
Well, Ike Eisenhower was running for office, so I beat you.
Yeah, they lowered the voting age for
I
me.
worked on the streets for Eisenhower while I was in junior high school.
All right, I'm not going to ask you here. All right, now, thank you, everyone. Anything on good of the order that we should do? Yes, sir?
Trump is going to need a place to have a meeting coming up in this county in sometime in the near future before 2020, and we ought to be doing something to set it up.
Okay, good point. All right, Phyllis, you got something?
Yeah, these are, those of you who have these envelopes, if you have cash and money, who can we give them to tonight?
Tim McCord.
Okay, good.
Tim, you got
Thank
your pistol, you're carrying?
Anybody else? Thank you. Then so you won't have to take it home and worry about it, you can just go to that.
Yeah, anybody wants to leave some cash, that's excellent. Okay, all right, in closing, thank you, all of you. Now, if you want to help on that 4th of July parade, I can use all the help we can do. We're going to decorate the float out here on the 3rd, so help me decorate the float, come and walk and hand out flags, and yes, ma'am.
If any of you have grandchildren, last year, I had 6 or 8 of my 13-year-old grandson's friends walked and handed out flags, and they thought that was the most wonderful thing they'd ever done. So if you have grandchildren, they enjoy it, and just, you know, and it's good for them because it introduces them to the Republican Party. And
Participate in it, yeah.
reminds them about the 4th of July and everything, so it's educational, it's also free.
All right, and when are we gonna see you again? It is
August
8th. August 8th. Thank you.